Hello everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I am ChitChad and welcome back once again to another episode of Planet Coaster, where we are working on a Super Mario theme park! And specifically moving on to a new area of the park today, as we hinted at in the previous Planet Coaster video, which was my first look at the new spooky DLC pack, which was super fun, and I think I said cool at least 32 times in that video because everything was literally blowing my mind with how amazing it was. So I will probably put a link to that in the end card of this video, but without further ado, we are moving on to the Luigi's Mansion area of the park, which I am super excited for. It's gonna be fun to kind of get like a change of pace because we got all this really like happy-go-lucky stuff over on the Yoshi and the Toad Town area of the park. But now we get to move on to like the spooky stuff, and because it's October, you know, it's October, getting closer to Halloween, I just thought it would be fun to work on the Luigi's Mansion area of the ride. Now, there are a few things that we have to finish up over in the Yoshi and the Toad Town area of the park, including another animation for the Yoshi coaster, which, on a side note, I've been getting a lot of great feedback and a lot of new subscribers over to my main channel, ChitChad Show. People were checking out the art and the animation that I created for this park, which is super cool. I really appreciate it. If you haven't seen it yet, over on my main channel, ChitChad Show, you can actually see how I put together the art and the animation for the Yoshi coaster and the Yoshi theming. So I'll probably also link one of those in the end card of this video for you to check out. And like I said, once I actually start working on the animation for the Luigi's Mansion ride, I will also be making videos about how I created those over on my main channel as well, which we're gonna have to do a lot of animation and art for the Luigi's Mansion ride just because it's gonna be very narrative driven. Kind of think like Haunted Mansion will have multiple kind of like set pieces where you're gonna be looking at, and with the coaster that we're using, the motion track coaster, it'll be able to actually point and look at the scenes that we're setting up. So it's gonna be really fun, but also really excuse me, oh man, woo! It's gonna be really time intensive. I don't know what happened to me there. I started coughing out of nowhere. Jeez, it's definitely getting colder. I can tell. I feel like I'm a little under the weather today, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little craggly. But we're gonna be working on multiple things in this episode, but the main thing we're working on is kind of the early stages of the front entrance of the Luigi's Mansion ride, and it's gonna be kind of based off of a little bit of the actual mansion in the game, but because I wanted to add a bit more flair to it, we're also going to be kind of using a bit of like design notes from the Haunted Mansion that are over in the Disney parks, but also incorporating something that I really like that Imagineers use, and also other park builders, like a lot of the parks, or a lot of the larger buildings in the Universal parks. They use this thing called forced perspective. And what it does is, at the base of a building, it's normal size, but as it gets taller and taller and taller, they start shrinking the proportions down more and more and more. And the reason they do this is they want to make buildings look taller and larger than they actually are. So that's the technique that I'm going to try and kind of use for this building, because I want it to be kind of foreboding and it just looks like it's this big grand mansion, but it's really just like it's still going to be a big building, but it's not going to be as big as it actually looks or it's perceived to be. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to kind of think of it as like layers of cake. The first layer is going to be a normal large building, but the second layer is going to be a little bit smaller, and then the third layer is going to be a little bit smaller. So we're going to create a large building, but not, you know, have it be just this ginormous thing in actual space. And this is going to be kind of like the front facade of the building. It's going to not be a full building because the showroom is going to be kind of the showroom where the line's going to be, or the queue's going to be, is going to be relatively condensed, and we might have like a couple of like visual gags and stuff like that inside the actual queue. I want to make this kind of like an interactive queue, like you see the Indiana Jones ride over in Disney. There's like a lot of things that you can actually like mess with and touch, and there's a couple things in the Mummy ride over at the Universal parks during the queue that you can actually interact with. So we might add a couple things like that, like the windows, for example. You can actually add animations to those windows, so it might be fun if we had like a boo show up every once in a while and make its noise. And someone also suggested in the spooky DLC pack, when I was asking about, you know, what kind of scenes would you like to see from Luigi's Mansion, someone mentioned it would be really cool to see Mario stuck behind the painting. And I'm like, yes, totally. That would be really great. We're definitely going to have that somewhere in the ride. So we're going to have a lot of things going on. I'm going to have to animate and draw Luigi, obviously. Mario's going to have to be in there. And we're probably going to pick a couple of Boo or Ghost characters to add to multiple scenes so that I don't have to like create a new character for every single scene of the mansion. So it's still stuff I got to figure out, but first we got to actually build the ride and then set up the scenes and see exactly how many of them I'm going to have to animate, and then how many of them we can just use as like transitional elements, much like how you see like the clock in the Haunted Mansion ride, where it's just like there's still a bit of animation to it, but it's not like a big centerpiece. It kind of leads you from one centerpiece to the other. So we're gonna have what I'm gonna call show pieces and then hallway pieces, and the hallway pieces just get you from showpiece to showpiece to showpiece. So we'll see how many that we can fit in this ride without it being too crazy and over the top, because it's gonna be a large building, because I want to actually have it start outside of the mansion. So I almost want it to have like, it looks like you're starting out outside, or at some point you go outside of the mansion, and then that area is also going to be a themed dark area. It's not like you're actually going outside into the real world. You're going to be outside in the show building. So it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be a lot of fun at the same time. So one thing I'm going to bring up, because you're probably wondering, why is this video coming out on a Sunday when normally Planet Coaster videos come out on a Friday? Without going into like too much detail, this previous week just kind of drop kicked me in the face. There was a lot of stuff I wasn't prepared for, and I needed to take like 2 mental days just for me to kind of get everything back to normal. And because of that, I had to push back my art video and this video back 2 days, and it wasn't something I was planning on doing, and I really apologize for it being late, but I had to take those mental health days just to kind of get myself back into the creative, happy-go-lucky mood. And now that I am, obviously, here's the video. So again, I do apologize for the past few videos being late. It's definitely not something I want to make a habit of doing. So I'm going to kind of really focus on the YouTube stuff and get videos out on time. And hopefully we won't have to, you know, deal with late videos again in the future. Because trust me, I don't like videos being late, because it means I gotta like really concentrate and get the videos out even quicker. So I do apologize once again for that. And one other side note, because I do get a lot of like comments on my other videos, like the Sonic Mania playthrough right now. I even get comments on my art channel, which really surprises me, about like, where's Planet Coaster? Where's Planet Coaster? And I just want you all to know, like, I love Planet Coaster, don't get me wrong, I really do, but it's not something that I can always produce, and it's not something I can produce very quickly, just because what seems like a 15 to 20 minute video on YouTube is actually like 5 to 6 to 7 hours worth of work. So I don't know the best way to say it. I guess just if we could be a little more understanding of just how much work goes into these, because I'm not a full-time YouTuber, and like, this isn't my bread and butter, which I wish it was. It would be really cool if this was. I think that's like anybody who's on YouTube wants this to be like their full-time job. But just the Planet Coaster stuff, and even some of the artwork stuff, like it takes a long time to produce. I don't have any like short throw content except for Sonic Mania. My artwork is sped up to be like, you know, it's 3 to 4 hours worth of drawing to be like a 15-minute video, and the same with Planet Coaster. It's 3 to 4 hours of recording to be like a 10 to 15-minute video. So it's a good day's worth of work. So I do apologize that they might take longer than people want, but at the same time, it's the capacity of which I can actually create at. So, you know, a bit more patience when it comes to creating this content. I promise I'll get better and try and get it out at least on time. Bare minimum, get it out on time. But that's just a side note. I'm sorry if that seems negative. I don't want it to be, but it's kind of like for my own mental health. I would just really appreciate a little more understanding in terms of, you know, how long it takes to create this content. So anyways, all that out of the way, and again, I apologize, all that out of the way, we're moving on to adding some greenery. I don't want it to be super vibrant, so we're gonna add a lot of like dead plants and a lot of kind of like decaying trees and stuff like that, but also with a little bit of an underlying green. So we add a little bit more grass, because while I want it to be dark and kind of foreboding and mysterious, at the same time, it still exists in the Mario world, and we can't go too far into like the spook territory or too far into like the haunted territory, just because it does exist in Mario, and Mario's known to be, you know, bright and fun and cheery. There are a couple of levels even in the main Mario games where they are creepy, like the I can't remember the name of it. Oh my gosh, it's in Mario 64, the Haunted Mansion like area of that game. It's kind of spooky. I like I remember as a kid specifically, those eyeballs that track you, I really don't like those things. I don't like those things at all. And I think there's like eyeballs just like that in Legend of Zelda. Like, I don't know, eyeballs freak me out. I don't like them, especially I think those ones shoot fire at you for whatever reason. Oh, and the piano, the freaking piano. I hate that piano. That piano's, no, I don't like that, because it's like, if I remember correctly, it stays perfectly still until you walk up to it, and it's like, I'm like, no, don't do that, piano. I don't appreciate it. So yeah, we're adding what are we doing? We're adding rocks. That's fun. That's exciting. Adding rocks. I wanted to add some water features into this area, and I want the queue to also go outside of the mansion at some point and kind of go into like a little bit of a cemetery. The queue, like I said, is going to be a little bit of interacting. It's going to have some fun things to look at. And because the Yoshi's queue that I built, I mean, it's kind of not like a realistic queue, especially in the building that it was created in. Like the path kind of winds in a weird way. Like it still would work. Because there was so much built on top of the building, a lot of pieces kind of intersect into the actual queue area. But with this, I feel like it's going to look a lot better, and I actually want it to be just as themed as the ride is going to be themed. So we're going to spend extra time on that. And I have a feeling the paths themselves are also going to change quite a bit. And I actually messed up here. I'm placing down these trees, and I forgot that I was actually inside the build envelope for the building. So unless I might be already... I'm already past that. I'm already past that at this point. Yeah, but at the previous point, I actually built the trees inside the envelope for the building, the show building. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want the trees to be separate. So I had to delete all the trees and then go back and create them again. I do that a lot where I forget I'm actually in the build envelope for the building when I'm placing down other stuff. That happened a lot in the previous video game park, especially in the Sonic area. Like I built full areas of that park and then forgot that it was actually in the build envelope for one of like the tiny little buildings, like the chili dog stand, and I had like all of this stuff attached to it. So when I went to move the chili dog stand, like a bunch of stuff was missing. I'm like, oh my god, what happened? What did I do? And then I realized that it was just kind of stuck into the building envelope. So I'm like, gosh darn it, I can't believe I did that. So it's one thing I need to get better of and just be more aware of when I'm building, just to make sure I'm not inside of the building envelope when I'm making other stuff. So I wanted to kind of add like this rickety old looking bridge. I wanted to add some more theming elements. We might add some like fog and stuff, because they've added so many new like visual effects for this pack. Oh my gosh, like rain. Oh, the rain is so freaking cool. I'm doing it again. I'm saying cool. I need to avoid that. This is not that kind of video. I'm not gonna say cool a million times like I did in the previous one. But that's actually going to lead us to sort of the end of this video. We're just going to be touching up a little bit with the painting side of things. We're going to make it look more like decayed, a little bit more mossy in this area. And yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all are as well. The path is probably going to change, like I said, a little bit more as we build it out. But for now, I'm really excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Luigi's Mansion is a really fun game. It's going to allow us to have a lot of really cool animations and a lot of cool show buildings. It's going to be a good time. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. And a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I couldn't do this without you, and if you want to consider helping out the channel, check out my Patreon. I would super appreciate it. And if you like this content and you want to see more, check out the video to the top right, which is the spooky DLC first look video that I did. And if you want to see my art and animation channel, check out the video to the bottom right, which is a video showing how I did the animation for the Yoshi coaster. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will chat with you later.